As a gym owner, I get frustrated having to do content all the time because I'm not a big fan of it. But I get even more frustrated when it's not good and I put it out and it doesn't sound like me and I put it out. So my journey of trying to figure out how to replicate myself and do less work and be able to produce more volume, but still not make it terrible and not make it generic. Right now, I did this last night. I made a prompt system to produce blog posts for me. And later on, I'm going to use those blog posts to create content out of, specific to my gym's avatar and written in my voice. So, I'm going to show you a little bit of how I did it and the process of going through it and the mistakes I had made and the pitfalls and stuff like that. I want to make a little backstory first for it. I've been using ChatGPT for most of my career so far, and I've been using it a long time, pretty much since it came out. It's not great for certain things right now, and it's honestly kind of disappointing me in ways that it didn't before. My friend had suggested to try Claude for some creative work and to actually create things and prompts and systems. He said it was gonna use a lot more data and usage rate than ChatGPT. Obviously, ChatGPT for me doesn't even have a usage rate. I've never hit it, and I use it a lot. So I came over to Claude last night and I started playing with it, and my goal was to make a prompting system that could create blog posts for me based on a topic that I just give it and not give it any other information, but also based on information that I have. Say I have notes, I have a case study, I have something I wrote about, I want to make a blog post about it and be able to give it that information and go from there. So what I had done, we're going into Claude, there's these projects. The projects are a place where you can save information, give it files, give it context and reference, give it instructions of how you want it to perform inside of this so you don't have to repeat yourself. Super important. If you run a gym facility, if you have something you do repeatedly, make the documents. Take the time to do that. For example, all these documents are based on how my gym works and what information it needs in order to understand what I do on a daily basis, what people want from us on a daily basis, and how we serve the client. So we have everything from the master document of our avatar, what they like, what they don't like, who they are, what their interests are, what their kids are like, their spouses, etc. We have the content constraints and guardrails, like don't do these things. Like for us, we don't want to speak in negative terms. We don't want to call out these like stupid fads. For us, it's like, do you have back pain? We'll try this one thing and it's gone. Like we don't want that type of language that exists in this content for us. So that's the constraints. Brand reference, this is how we talk, the tone of voice, things like that. This is not context of actual writing, but in terms of tone, voice, things we say, things we don't say. The offer, this is what we do. So this is just an overview of the business of like we're small group personal training. We like using personal training as the better term because people understand it better. We don't like to use semi-private as a term. Here are our rough prices. This is how classes work, sessions work. This is our model, our schedule, programs, etc. And then pricing context, these are all of our prices and how they work in case we're doing offer work in content creation or trying to make stuff like that. Objection use case is content ideas that we come up with from all of this information. And then our Google reviews and testimonials so it can have actual references to pull from when it's say, I want to make a blog post that talks about knee pain, and it can search through the Google reviews and actually pull a true client like case. Like, oh, this person had arthritis in their knee and they had better outcomes within a month because it said so in their review. So that just makes it more real instead of making things up, which you can. That's up to you. Some people don't like that. Some people do. And this is my master prompt. It's something from Dan Martell that I like. It just tells the AI like what I do, what I'm looking to do, what are my goals, what am I working on right now, what's my business, just to give it overarching context of who I am. With all that, I think that's all super important for you to do. And if you haven't done it, you should do it because it makes all your use in AI better and more consistent going forward. Now let's talk about the actual blog post creation. So we're in Claude right now. Again, I use ChatGPT normally, so this was a new learning experience for me, and I'll show you exactly how I did it too. So this is the chat that I had used. We're gonna go all the way back up to create this thing. So I prompted this. in a way that I didn't fully know exactly what I wanted. It's okay to do that. Just know that you're going to have usage rates that are higher, and you may take multiple sessions in order to get something done for you. That's at least what happened for me. I wanted to make sure that I gave it the role, world class prompt engineer, just to make sure that it understands we're trying to create a prompt for other AI tools to use. Our job is to create a single prompt and the necessary tools, docs, references to create high quality, well written, non AI slot blog posts for my gym, momentum, momentum health and performance in case it needed the context. And then I went into a little bit of like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm not sure like what I want out of this. I have ideas. So I say this is probably multidimensional. I'm trying to churn out blog posts that are attractive to the audience, but can also pull my notes, documents, etc. that I have and be able to generate something completely like I just do it off of this with no outside resources and have it be good and true. So I'm telling it that this might be more than a single task. You're going to kind of tell me and help me guide through this. I'm going to give you some freedom with the language that I wrote here. The blog post also should be optimized for readability for the ideal avatar that we're target. This is for marketing. That is the purpose. This is not like educational nuance. Like I'm not trying to just put my thoughts out in the world. I'm trying to optimize SEO and Google search and people coming on the website so we can sell more service. That's the point. So I want it written in my voice, and I shared a voice reference doc in this chat. So that's this. This is something I had written a while ago. It's a very good representation of how I write because it is 21 pages, so it's a lot of context. It's about something that I was single-handedly involved in that I wrote about with a client case. And so that is my reference of how I write. I think it's the best representation of it. I want to optimize for SEO and GEO, not just SEO because GEO is becoming much more common. People are using AI to search more than they're using Google. So it's important to have the generative engine optimization as well. The goal of the blog post is generate leads, improve searchability. That's the point. I said I am new to prompting, especially in Claude. Let me know how I done this prompt so far. So when you end a prompt like that, it allows you to get better. It allows you to improve how you prompt because the AI knows what it wants from you. So that's going to tell you to go through these things and be like, I'm missing this information. We're going to look at that here. Or you said this well, you didn't do this well. It's a good learning tool. That's what I want. I want to learn how to do this well. So in terms of prompt quality assessment, told me what I did well, gave a clear objective, specific constraints, identified the dual use case, stated the business goal, acknowledge uncertainty about process complexity. So that's good. What's missing? Examples of AI slop, which is completely true. I did not define things. It loves definitions and it loves to know exactly what I mean by things. Definition of what high quality means. Typical blog post links and structure preferences. How you'll evaluate success. Sample topics or categories you care about. What optimize for SEO GEO means to me specifically. So at this point, I had stopped completely and I was like, okay, I don't know the answers to these. To a lot of them. I don't really know what I mean. I couldn't really define them. So what I did is I had pulled up ChatGPT here, and I had went through and I was like, I need to understand what is good out there. So I slash deep research and added that because I wanted to do some extensive research about what the best practices were. And I basically took what it said and was like, I gave it a role. You always want to give the AIs a role. Your role as an expert social media analyst, SEO optimizer, geo optimizer for blogs specifically. Like to research best practices in blog post spaces that are optimized for SEO, geo, lead generation, getting people to go to the website, etc. What I'm looking for answers on is typical length in words, preferred structure of blog posts, how topics are chosen, how they optimize for SEO, geo. Going on and basically going through our list here and just having it look it up because I didn't know the answers. And then it gave me 10 minutes later gave me a very good article that was very cited and going off of a lot of Google and what Google wants to see. And then I downloaded that. So we're just going to skip some of this. I downloaded that and I'm going to use it as reference. So I said, this is my first time using Claude. I usually use ChatGPT. Do I need to explicitly reference the docs in this project or research for relevance? Because I was curious to make sure that it was the same across the board if the projects would be referenced the same way. Do you directly search through those things, etc.? So it explains to me it's basically like, yeah, I'm going to search if I need to, and which is very similar to ChatGPT. I'm not necessarily too worried about it. I said read all the docs first to understand what's going on. Make sure that you're not asking me questions that you already have the answer to. I said some docs may be irrelevant for the task at hand, like our pricing structure and stuff like that. So read everything. It was basically, this is fantastic, awesome. So then it took everything from the docs and synthesized the information to determine what things are probably going to be. So after it gave me all this information, I read through it and I said, how much context can you handle at a time? Because ChatGPT, the frustration I have is it often fails very quickly. When I put so much information into the thing, it's limited by the amount of tokens it can understand at once. They're going to give me some of that information. And so I said, I want to give you more context before we even go through anything. I often use AI, read through a little bit of the response, and then understand that I just didn't give it enough information. Don't even finish reading it, and then give it more information and be like, hey, I'm going to give you more information. Let's just go from there again. Assume that you're just going to read through this, get rid of all the things that you were asking before. Ask me the new questions if you need them. So what I did uploaded that ChatGPT deep research document on SEO and geo optimization. I also said I'm going to be using Wix for the website and blog if that's helpful or necessary, because that may be helpful in terms of how the meta descriptions are put in, whatever it may be. And then I asked, maybe this is multiple different prompts based on use case. I'm seeing you speak about generic versus resource, longer versus shorter, different types of narratives. I'm not sure entirely. I'm clear about I'm not sure. I know I need to do more blog content and content in general, so I'm trying to find a way to streamline this to never think about these things again. So the analysis of this, it's telling me how many tokens are used and stuff like that in terms of context so far, which is helpful for me. I just wanted to understand how much I could put in before I started forgetting things. So it told me the research doc is excellent, changes how it will approach this. Critical. I thought this was interesting. You may not, but AI slop as a definition from research. This is from the internet and how people actually are currently defining AI slop. If it's not AI slop, it means a reader can see real effort, real originality, and real added value, regardless of whether AI tools were used. So basically, it's saying, do you add value? Does it seem original? Does it seem like human thought for the most part? And does it help? Does it show effort, even if you use a tool? Because sometimes you can use a tool to summarize your thoughts, my notes, whatever. So, according to Google, what makes it not AI slop? First-hand experience, real examples, original analysis, expert quotes, original photos or case studies, proprietary frameworks. All stuff that you can get if you have a lot of your information connected to AI. Again, something we can go over another time. So it's using my pain management framework as the frame of understanding how I talk, how I present information, how I present cases, how I present problems, and how I solve them. Real client stories are coming from my Google review doc that was in the project folder. Proprietary positioning, so our scheduling model is unique. And expert perspective, I've been working with these clients for almost 10 years now. Word count reality checks. So it's saying competitive, somewhere between 1,400 and 1,600 words. 900 to 1,600 is fine for narrow or how-to single intent. 2,000 is pillar content, link magnets, something like that. My audience is a time-constrained professional, which is true. So that means that I don't need huge things because they're not going to read it. But I do need things that solve one problem completely because they care about getting the problem solved. So, stack that it wants to use. The structure matters more than length, and the headers should mirror like actual questions or statements that people have. Answer first thing. So I want information to be answered right before we get into the blog. It's almost like having a quick like TLDR. Like at the top it says, here's the answer. This is like, can I strength train with knee pain? And I may have like a 900 word blog post about it, but at the top in the box it says yes, like something super short, a paragraph of it and why, just so people can be like, oh, okay, this is worth reading. Okay, we're gonna skip a lot of this here. It's giving me a proposed system right now. It's saying you need a topic generator, which is true, to help me when I can't think of anything. Quick post generator, which is what I'm going to use most of the time. A deep post generator, resource transformer. So, like, say I have my raw material, I have case studies, I have notes, I have something I've written about before, make a blog post out of it. An SEO optimizer, given I have something already that I don't think is optimized super well for SEO use cases. It's saying it's going to account for Wix. Then it's asking me a few final questions. It wants to know in priority of build, like which one is more important, and the quick post generator would be the most important one to me, then the topic generator, then the SEO, resource, deep post. I believe that's the order that I chose. Local SEO. So in terms of how we do this, I didn't understand this question when I was asked it the first time. So I said I'm not really sure. Like I want more clients. So whatever is going to do that. So when you don't know, default to be like, this is the outcome I'm looking for. You pick what you think is best for the outcome. If you have an outcome, there's usually a right answer, and it usually thinks that there is. Client story usage. So it's asking, can I use client stories? Because some people prefer to not put that information out there. I'm like, use whatever you want as long as it's anonymous. And it's even like gender neutral is what I prefer. CTA strategy. How do you want to do that? How do you want to know if this is good enough to publish? All of those questions. So I answered these questions here. And then it goes through addressing the question that I had because, again, I'm trying to learn. And it asks for the build. And I specified a couple things. And then for CTAs, I wasn't too happy with the response. So I asked, can I share a lead magnet guide from a book that I like for the CTA and value stuff? And it was like, yes, please do. Obviously, it would say that. So I gave it the book chapter that I was looking for. This may not even load at this point. So then it determined how to do CTAs and how to add value. Because I wanted my blog posts to be so valuable that people were sold pretty much the secrets, but then we would have to actually sell them the implementation if they wanted it. Okay, so we're done, pretty much. So it was like, are you ready to do this? I'll say yes. Fantastic. So I said yes. So here's the prompt. Long as fuck, right? So the thing here that we care about is it explains how everything works. It gave me a bunch of files and stuff like that. I actually had one that didn't work. I couldn't open this, and it was corrupt or something like that. So I had it redo this whole thing, and it put everything in one. So I'm going to show you that. I'm going to pull this over. So it gave me this. We're going to go through this real quick. So Momentum blog system complete. So it's going to give me the quick start guide. It's going to give me the information of how to do this. And then it'll give me the full steps here. And then we're going to go through each prompt, okay? The first prompt is everything we need. So I want to just dive into prompts a little bit and show you exactly how it works in terms of what an AI is really looking for and how much depth you can use to get a great output. Because I don't think we understand. We kind of, if you're relatively fluent in AI, you understand you need a role, you need context, you need the action and the way that you want it to be output, or the task. The task is the action. So let's go into that a little bit. So we're giving it a role. You're a professional blog writer for Momentum Health and Performance, a premium semi-private strength training facility in Westfield, Massachusetts, serving adults 40 to 60 whose bodies are trying to interfere with their lives. Okay? That's the role. Very specific, a lot of context in that. And then it's going to tell them the context of the situation. So you are writing as me. owner and coach at Momentum. 10 years of training this population. You understand pain, aging, fear, and what it takes to restore confidence in people's bodies. To restore confidence in people's bodies is some of our underlying language for our avatars. It's going to give them my voice generally. It's going to give them what to avoid. And then it's going to go into my audience of the demographics. This is all taken from my avatar document. What we solve, this is the service that we do. And then content principles. So gross value delivery. I want to make sure that we give away the secret, sell the implementation. Provide so much value they feel obligated to pay you. Don't hold back your best insights. If someone can implement this without you and get results, that's a good thing. If they think I could do this, but I'd rather have Momentum do it, that's perfect. I think this is extremely important for content. I am a Hormozy guy because it makes sense to me, and people love it when they actually are on the receiving end of these things. So, and then it goes into SEO and GEO optimization. Target length, 900, 1200 words. This is the context of the constraints and rules that exist that you need to stay in order to output a blog post appropriately. The hook, 2 to 4 sentences, confirm the exact problem state and outcome, preview what's inside. This is the structure of the post. Quick answer section, optional but powerful, 2 to 3 sentence direct answer. Heading to section, so this is in between every major section. Mirror sub questions people ask, and this is what SERP reveals Google expects. So this is a SEO optimization thing that I learned from the research doc. Evidence throughout, concrete examples, constraints, edge cases, etc. So then it goes into the CTA, contextual, non-intrusive, value first. I'm not trying to be like, oh, come buy our thing right now. It's like, does this make sense? Was this helpful? If you need more help, we got you, kind of deal. Then make sure that there's subtle mentions of Western Mass, Westfield, stuff around here. A client mentioned their doctor at Bay State, which is a hospital around here. Ways to slide in the local part without spamming Western Mass, Westfield Mass, Springfield, Chicopee, West Springfield, all the towns around us, because Google doesn't like spam that feels very targeted to the local area. Okay. All right. Then it goes into geo, how the actual AI search now and what they like to see, etc. Formatting, make sure that the formatting looks like this because that's how a blog post should look. CTA framework, and then quality filters. It says it must pass all 4 in order to publish this thing. Would I send this to a client? Does this provide value worth their time? Would someone feel stupid saying no to this? Does this give away secrets, not fluff? If those 4 things are true, output. And then it goes into the second realm of, is this good? What makes this not AI slop? First-hand experiences, real examples, original analysis, proprietary frameworks, real case studies. I'm sure one of those is in there. Operational definition, we want to make sure a reader can see real effort, real originality, and real added value. And then resources to reference all information from that it'll have access to that are already uploaded in ChatGPT or Claude or whatever. And the output is what we want. Give us the output. Give us SEO metadata afterwards. I want to be able to see 3 title suggestions. I want to see a meta description and URL slug suggestion, and then Wix categorization if you use that. Primary category, 2 or 3 tags. Cool. That's what it gave me. I'm sorry. That is what it gave me, but this is really the thing that's telling it what to do. This is the task. You write a blog post about, I insert the topic, knee pain. Can you strength train with knee pain? I can give it targeted keywords if I care about those. Specific client story to reference if I care about that or have it. Related post to link to if I have it. And it's going to say, remember to do all these things, generate the post. That's going to be the output. So, now, it gave me a bunch of other stuff. It gave me a topic generator for prompts. We won't go into that. It gave me SEO optimizer. It gave me resource transformer. It gave me a decision tree and how to use. It gave me an upload checklist. It gave me a bunch of stuff. It was pretty cool. So, let's go into this. I asked, do I need to publish as an artifact? Because I don't really understand what an artifact is, but I saw the option. So I asked, I was interested. I was like, So do you need reference to all these docs that you have in order to make this work? Like, can I just put this into a new account and have it work? Curiosity, and it said yes, pretty much. You include most of the information you need. Would it be better to have access to all the docs? Sure, but if this was a brand new account and you were just pasting prompt in, it would still do a very good job. Great. So at this point, I ran out of usage for the session, so I had to wait till like 8 p.m. last night in order to use it again. I had tried on ChatGPT, done a couple things, and I was like, I have these problems. So I went into the problems, and we're gonna fix this. I have a couple problems, and we need to make this super brief because I'm using Sonnet 4.5 and losing usage massively. I thought I was using the even higher one, but I wasn't at the time. It's just this is so much more than I was used to for ChatGPT. So I said I've tested the prompts in ChatGPT. I understand that they may not be optimized for that model. Maybe they are, but I didn't ask it for it to be. However, I assume that they should be similar. So I said the outputs are not copy and paste conducive to Wix. Spacing doesn't happen. Headings feel quite large. Dividing lines can't be imported. If this is a normal limitation, something I need to manually do, I understand, but we must make that clear. That is, I had to do it manually, but I'll show you that. Transformation prompt does not include a CTA. So when I have my own notes, it doesn't include a CTA, so I had to fix that. Internal link suggestions seem irrelevant. It kept being like, do you want internal links? And I was like, no. Like, internal links to what? Stuff that you don't know if I've written or not. So I wanted that got rid of pretty much. And outputs for topic generation are good. And I was wondering, are they generated off of theme search trends or what? How are they generated? So Wix formatting, it basically was like you need to fix it yourself, which is fine. I just needed to understand that that was it, and I couldn't streamline that. Research generation, it was like add these. Great, I added those inside. Internal links, I was like, it was like remove those entirely. That's assuming that it's aspirational, that you have for something rough to associate it with that it can come up with. And then topic generator, it's generated from your avatar's actual pain points, common search patterns for 4060 demographic problems that lead to your core offer, SEO friendly keywords. Cool. So it was like, do you want to correct these things? And I was like, yes, please. So then the thing I had showed you that I just pulled over was the corrected version, so it didn't have those things in it already. And I asked, so now your usage rates don't seem to make sense to mass produce content. Can we optimize for this on ChatGPT where I can output volumes of content, or would this always be inferior to ChatGPT? And it said, I'm curious on how true this is. I think from using it, it is true, but I would assume that Claude and ChatGPT are competitors. That Claude will always shit on ChatGPT and vice versa. If that's just what would make sense to me from a business perspective. So ChatGPT will be inferior to your voice. I do feel that that's true from using it back and forth. But it said, and it recognized this, the problem: Claude is expensive and limited, knows my documents deeply, it nails the voice, but burns the tokens fast. That's true. So far from using it, it knows the documents more deeply than ChatGPT, can use context windows longer, and it nails my voice so much better. But it does burn through. I do one blog is 10% of my usage for the session. But ChatGPT doesn't have project context, although it can. So I don't know how true that is. It has projects over there and I have my information in it. So we can argue with that if we want. It'll sound more generic, kind of, sometimes, but unlimited usage. And I was like, well, can we solve this problem? So use both strategically. So I can create the template here. I can create really good blog posts. So that's what we did. 3 blog posts on different topics, save them as voice reference templates, and then give ChatGPT the prompt, optimize, for ChatGPT, and then the 3 Claude generated examples and match this voice exactly. So I tried that. So I said, do it, make it worth it, because I didn't want to spend that much more on it. Gave me that information. So it gave me prompt, gave me the reference posts. What is this? This is why does my back hurt after sitting all day? Here's the blog post. And so then I went and tried it. I said, this is the response from ChatGPT from the exact instructions you provided. The topic is, can you strength train without knee pain? Please grade the response accordingly to your intended outcomes, suggest adjustments accordingly. So this was me. I read through it and I was like, this is pretty good. I would post this probably. But I wanted it to be better. I wanted it to be the best it can be. So I said, grade it. 92 out of 100. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. Voice matching, I agree, was pretty good. There were some like things I was like, not great, but you will always probably have to go in for the taste part. I think Dan Martell says that you want the AI to do about 80% of the work for you. You want to do 10% of the work on the beginning, 10% of the work on the end. And those are usually taste based things. Structure is very good. It was correct. Content quality, it was pretty good. So it said what needs to adjust, voice drift, too polished in places. It did sound like kind of robotic in a couple of phrases. Change those. Missing my signature edge, like I'm very punctual and like one or two words, very blunt kind of thing when I talk. Talked about that. And then structural stuff. So it suggested that I change these things. And I put these in the prompt. And then it'll do that. And I input those things in the prompt. I said, here's the output with the refinement to the prompt. And it gave me a better one. And it basically was like, this is great. It's not probably going to get much better. Don't make it better and try to just use this and every 5 to 10 posts make sure you really read them and say, is this going too far out of context? I think it's assuming that I just run this straight in one chat, but I would probably be doing in separate chats over time, which would mean the context would always exist and always be high. So that's how that works and how we made that happen. So I want to just show you with ChatGPT how we can do this. So I'm going to just create a new chat. So this has zero context other than some memory work and stuff like that. Okay. So here it is. So it's going to output 10 different posts with titles, search intent, keywords, narrow problems to solve, why it might be good, content angle based on our avatar. What do we like? How do I get back into shape after 10 years of not working out? I like that one. We're just gonna pass this over. So how do I get back into shape? 10 years not working out. I'm gonna paste that in because I'm gonna paste this in first. And copy this. Pull it out. Scroll up to the topic part. All right. Write a blog post about how do I get back in shape after 10 years of not working out with all of our information, all our context, all our rules. So we're gonna give this a second to output. So what it does, you start small, smaller than your ego wants. 10 years of not working out, the goal isn't to get back to who you were to build a body that works now. That means respecting where you are, not punish yourself for where you've been. So this is a good hook. Good news is your body still adapts. 45, 52, 60 doesn't matter. It just needs the right signal. So that's good. It frames the problem and it gives hope to the solution. You're not starting from zero. You feel like you are. You're not like good framing for this. We're just going to run through like not the specific things, but language kind of sounds like me. Really speaks to the audience. Like it's pretty heavy into the audience's like pain points and how they would want to be talked to and things that would resonate with them. Good one-liners. And then CTA. This is good. SEO metadata. So giving me good title options, meta description, slug, primary category, restarting fitness, tags, stuff like that. So this is pretty good. And I could just do that. I could sit here and do this all day. Give me 10 ideas. Okay, let's go make 10. Give me 10 more. Okay, let's go make 10. Like, sit here and do this all day. And I could have an unlimited amount of blog posts that I could then repurpose also into content later. So that's kind of how I'm using AI in order to replicate my voice and make better content. There are other prompts that we made with like the research generation, SEO optimizer, and stuff that I can show another time if anybody's interested. But at the end of the day, like this is a long video, longer than I wanted, and I wanted to really just show like it takes some effort, and like a lot of when you build stuff in AI, you have to ask, you have to wait for a response, you have to test it across different models sometimes, and then come back and be like, this is the response, what's the feedback, how can we make it better, etc. Like now, if I look at this, I'd be like, there's no answer early, so I like to change that. So there's no like one box of like here's the answer. There's also no rule for the Hormozy style uh, value equation and stuff like that. So I'd like to also add that in. So from that, we just keep iterating and making it better until we're pretty happy with it, and then we just produce content off of it. And that's how you can make your job as a gym owner much more freeing because you don't have to do as much. You don't have to think as hard, and you can actually worry about the business and clients and people that you need to, your staff, etc. Use AI and use it for good. Try to help people with it. Try not to put out shit either because there's a whole lot of it. Like I spent a lot of time to make sure that this wasn't shit. Like this article is helpful to people and would be giving people hope, and it would be positive hope because it would be true. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you want access to anything that I did. We'll see you around.